will never be this young again. Never. We can be stronger, wiser, kinder, better. Yeah, we're getting better. Too old is for everyone who thinks they're too old to start over. Everyone who has gripped their balls and done it anyway. Everyone who takes risk. Everyone who was scared. Everyone living their best lives. And everyone who is tired of letting life pass them by. Too old is for you. Today I'm flying solo because there are some things I just wanted to have more time and space to get into. And I want to talk about what inspired me to create this blog, podcast. I've kind of talked around this in the past, but it's becoming more and more evident to me. So I started Too Old. This is our third season, so let's say it's been, I would say, 3 years. So at the time, I was 38 years old, and I just wanted to get a jump start on preparing to turn 40. I wanted to try to stave off a midlife crisis. Now I feel like I am having a midlife transition. I don't think it's a crisis because I think I've done a lot of inner work around it. I think for whatever reason, my whole life I've been very fascinated with age. Like the idea of dying hasn't didn't really scare me, and it still doesn't, but the idea of getting old petrifies me, right? And so I've always just watched people who were older than me, and I would kind of try to just learn from them, right? So I just remember being like in my early 20s in the church, and then the women who were like, in their late 30s and their 40s, and they will always say like, telling you you're going to have so much more confidence when you get older. And I was confused by that because the physical beauty changes. I won't say it diminishes, but it changes from what is often lauded, right? Like the particular body type. Like even if you're fit, you're still 40. Like 40-year-old skin is still 40. It's just what it is, right? So you think about the most fit people. We see these people who are 70, 80 years old, and you're like, damn, like you might want to look like that when you're 70 or 80, but nigga, you still gonna be 70 or 80. So when these 40-year-old women used to tell me, you're going to be so much more confident. You're going to have way less insecurity, or you're not going to be so self-conscious. I just couldn't conceive of that because I'm like, well, I look way good now. I know I'm going to look different. I'm going to look worse. How am I going to have more confidence? But it is true. I say all this to say, so for a long time, I actually had a quarter life crisis. When I turned 25, I just broke down because I felt like, mind you, at this time I was an English teacher, I had a master's, but I just felt like I should be so much further in life. So again, like age and that ticking time, that I'm a competitive person. I just have to be honest about that. So when I see people who are further than me, and how do we even evaluate or assess that? But how I would look at it, I would like, yo, like I got to get my shit together. So again, when I'm turning 38, I started Too Old because I just wanted to prevent a midlife crisis if I could. And I believe that I have prevented it being a crisis. Now, is it still a major transition? Yes. So let's talk about what exactly happens at midlife, right? So the average woman is going to live to be 84 years old. The average man is going to live to be 78. Of course, we know nothing is guaranteed, right? So when you get around your late 30s and 40s, it is a natural human developmental thing to start to take stock because you are realizing that you are at your halfway point. So you look back on your life, right? Often this looking back is going to include a mourning of your youth, right? Because both men and women become more physically vulnerable when you're older. All right. So you like, damn, you realize you're looking back at, I should have did this, I should have done that. And then physically you're realizing like, yo, shit's about to be real, right? Because we know that elderly people are more susceptible to burglars, robbers, scams, all these different things. There's going to be an evolution in your cognitive ability. Okay, so I am intentionally not saying a diminishing, but the way your mind functions, your speech, like, and in this country, which is It's a capitalist society. It's all about money. It's all about transaction. It's all about what can you do for me. Older people are not valued as much. They're just not. Like we could talk about how it should be, but this is how it is, right? And it's a natural thing, not just in Western culture being a capitalist thing. Evolutionary wise, you people are more desirable when they're going to make a good genetic match. That's just how our brains are wired. So that is why men like, women like men who have a particular physical stature, because subconsciously you're thinking, if I were to mate with him, I want my offspring to have the best chance of survival. This is why women like men who have money, because you want somebody who can provide for you. This is just natural. And this is why men prefer younger women, because they are thinking subconsciously about what their mate would be, right? This is why men prefer pretty women, because being attractive will give your offspring a better chance at survival in life, right? So now when you are 41 years old, as I currently am, my desirability is not the same. Um, I say this not out of like self-loathing but I think we just got to keep it a buck about certain shit. Certain shit is just natural. I don't turn heads the way I used to even 5 years ago. All right. Physically, I'm not the same. So we could unpack that or whatever. But the truth is just the truth. All right. And a part of that is because these are 41-year-old eggs. Like nobody wants to eat expired eggs. You might, okay, maybe it's a couple days after the expiration date, you might eat them, but you don't want the motherfuckers to hatch, right? So on a subconscious level, my desirability is not the same, because this could end up, if conception were to even happen, the likelihood of it being a bless your heart baby is just higher. So men used to be, I've never, I told you guys, it's going to be very vulnerable, personable. I have never been with a man where I was like, yo, I want to have his kid. Never. Because I've never wanted to be a single mom. Like that shit just, like, yo, unless I know it shouldn't work out, you taking this motherfucker with you, like my mind has just never gone to that. But I have been with men who have been like, yo, you should give me a daughter that looked just like you. Okay, so the desirability is like, oh, he finds me attractive, but bigger than that, they want those genes passed off to their offspring. I'm not in a pass genes down phase in life, so the desirability is going to be different. And so when I was preparing for this midlife transition, I wanted to get in front of that. I wanted to talk about aging. I wanted to talk about it in a way that isn't just delusional and, oh yeah, girl, everybody's beautiful. Everyone is beautiful. But physically, our strength and our appeal diminishes. Now, what I will say, there are things that are gained with age, right? So again, a midlife crisis, if it becomes a crisis for you, is when you get stuck in the morning of the youth. Okay? That season has come and gone. Denzel Washington talked about life in 3 phases. He said you have your learn phase, and he was talking about it from a man's perspective. You have your earn phase. That is when you are physically, spiritually, emotionally, intellectually at your peak, in your prime, when you're going to have the energy and the stamina, again, physically, mentally, spiritually, in all the different ways to go out and be able to make money, right? Then when you pass midlife, you are preparing for your return phase, nigga. You're going to die. You in the back end of your life, okay? So that reality causes some people to go into crisis and do things that are lame as fuck, that are corny, that are harmful or detrimental. It could be as simple as a nigga not wearing a toupee or doing the what is the shit called when they get the man wigs? The unit, right? The hair unit, because he's trying to, recapture that. It might be a nigga getting a sports car. Might be a nigga getting it might be a nigga who's 50 years old fucking a 19-year-old white bitch. You know what I mean? Like the levels of what you're doing at this midlife crisis, if you don't manage it, it could just be a transition. But if you don't be real with yourself and realize, nigga, I'm midlife, There are certain things I can no longer do. My status in society has changed. In some ways, especially for men, it may raise because now you got money, now you have influence, right? For women, it may raise because your wisdom, your intuition, your nurturing, like spiritually, mentally, intellectually, or I could run circles around my 25-year-old self. Physically and the desirability, she was winning. Like, we don't have to be in denial about that. What we can do, so let's break down. So I broke down what a midlife crisis is, a midlife transition, why it is a natural human developmental phase. But let's break down how you can not have a crisis and instead have a transition. All right. Step one is acknowledging, nigga, that you are midlife. Okay. Now, anytime I tell people I'm 41, especially when I talk about it during comedy sets, people are like, oh, no, you don't look 41. I do look 41. I'm okay with looking 41. Like, when you turn 12, you don't be like, yo, I still look 2. I can still fit my onesie. No, you understand that physically your body changes. So why the fuck do we be in denial? Like, no, bitch, I look 41 and I'm totally fine with that. So it's acknowledging that you're midlife. And then 2 is confronting all of the fears you have about midlife. So, again, you're physically more vulnerable. If you are a woman and you are unattached, like your candidates, the quality and the quantity, it changes. It just does. If you are a woman and you want to have a child, that is a whole different process at this phase of life. Did God open Sarah's womb? Absolutely. Can he open yours? Absolutely. My sister had Cuddles at 43, and Cuddles is perfectly healthy, and my sister is perfectly healthy and good. It's like one of the biggest blessings of her life, having her at that phase in life. So I don't say any of this shit to scare, shock, diminish. This is not age shaming. And, my nigga, because 2 things can be true, and you're not as desirable as you used to be, right? So now we have confronted that. Let's talk about the fears that come along with that, right? Like, your body is now, we're in prevention, protection mode with our bodies. Now, when I'm working out, I'm not, yo, before, my vanity used to be a great motivation for me. Like, oh, I would work out, I would eat healthy, I would do all the things, honey, because I needed that everything to be. Now I'm working out, making healthy decisions, not out of vanity, because I don't really care that much, because my confidence is so much higher than it used to be. But I'm doing all these things because, nigga, I don't want to ever have to have a knee replacement, a hip surgery, none of that shit, right? So this is the phase of life where we are. So you have to, 1, acknowledge that you're midlife, and 2, confront your fears. The fear that I have about aging is because I don't have children, is being old and alone. I pray to God that I will be self-sufficient until the moment that I die. And I try to make decisions that will aid in that, right? Some of y'all got kids, and most likely they ain't gonna look out for your motherfucking asses anyway, but I don't, right? And then you hope that the younger people in your life gonna look out, but I don't really think so. So I have to confront that fear, and then I have to make decisions to put me in a good position so that the fear doesn't come to be true. What else would I say are my tips for having a midlife transition? Understanding that some of the shit you do is gonna be lame. It just is. Like, and I do this. Like, being midlife and wearing bodycon dresses, it's lame. It's stupid. Being midlife and trying to, yo, don't, I'm not unk, I'm not OG. You are. You are. Like, nigga, I'm auntie. Like, these young comments be trying to clown me, like, oh, what's up, auntie? You motherfucking right. I am literally auntie. I've been an auntie since I'm 17, and I'm auntie. Like, I am the aunt. I'm fine as fuck. Aunties be fine. And you got something going on, nigga, I'm offering you advice and a hard candy. Like, I'm totally okay with that. So to navigate midlife and to have it be a transition and not a crisis, excuse me, step one, acknowledging that you're midlife. Step two, confronting the fears you have around aging. And some of these things are legitimate. Like, things have changed, right? And then step three is taking action to just put yourself in the best position to be able to be self sufficient as long as possible and to return to where we came from. Excuse me, without being in a suffering state. You know, it's very scary, especially in Western society, if you are older and you don't have resources. So I know that I have a good 10 to 20 years left of peak earning potential. Gotta make better decisions. Um, yeah, in regards to dating, like, your decisions have to be wise. Like, the stupid shit you used to be attracted to, late 20s, early 30s, nigga, you need to be making better decisions. It's just what it is. This is the phase of life. And it doesn't have to be this scary, like this clock, like driving you to like, because that's when it goes into crisis mode, but you just need to be aware and adjust accordingly. I'm going to take a second, step off the camera for a minute to take a sip of water. So yeah, I thank God for giving me this inspiration for this podcast because it has definitely helped me not be in crisis mode, but to be in transition mode in regards to being midlife. I am the last born in my family, so I have just been watching and learning from people older than me my whole life, and so I think that that's kind of helped put me in a good position. And then when there's days when I go into mourning my youth mode, mourning my old body or whatever, I give myself grace because it's okay, and then I go into acknowledging, appreciating, embracing all of the strengths that have come with age. Like, I love this level of not giving a fuckness that I have at 41. I love the mastery that's in my craft, as a writer, as a performer, as an educator, as a community engagement specialist, as all these, as a child of God, as a prayer warrior, as a sister, as a daughter, as a friend, as a lover. Like, the experience that I have, like, I feel that I am the best mate that I have ever been, even though my eggs are old. But in regards to what I bring, what my presence does, what's possible, I'm an atmosphere shifter. Like, when I walk in, like, beauty is still important. I believe that women will remain beautiful. I don't think age diminishes beauty, but it does change it, and being okay with that. I don't dye my hair. I live a pretty honest life. I'm true to myself, so the hairs on my head are still black, but when they go gray, they're gonna be gray. Like, this body, like I talked about it in one of the earlier solo episodes, it has been tempting to think about. I wouldn't get a BBL because now I actually got ass. So these 50 pounds gave me some ass, honey. But I would get some liposuction. I want to be snatched. I would love that. And I realized that at 41, my body's not supposed to look the same way it did at 45. And just the way society has evolved, this is not even a critique because we're here now, right? Has us bombarded with images, has us bombarding other people with images. If you think about what midlife was like 20, 30 years ago, it didn't include Facebook bringing up your old pictures from 10 years ago, asking you, oh, let's share then and now. Let's compare how the fuck you look now. Like, bitch, why would I want to, right? So some of this angst, even the amount of depression and anxiety that people are struggling with now, the fact that depression and anxiety, dare I say, is the mental norm. Most people are depressed and anxious is because technology has evolved faster than our brains have. And so when are you feel like you should constantly be doing something now, nigga, you better be healthy, you better be fit, you better meditate, you better go to therapy, you better work out, you better have cryptocurrency, bitch, you better have a side hustle, you better have a brand, you better have a business, you better have 16 streams of income, you gotta build generational wealth. Now that is a good thing about having no motherfucking kids, because I don't have that pressure, bitch. Let me get some individual wealth. Like, y'all niggas talking about generational wealth. What the fuck the kids gonna be doing? Like, nah. I'll give you some generational help. I don't mind building generational help, but generational wealth? Who the fuck am I? Like, nah, nigga, I'm not Abraham. Like, God blesses me, but I'm not be killing myself. Niggas is killing, like, so all these different things that we're thinking about and all the different ways that we're supposed to be going, grinding, got to do this. Blah, 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 blah. Of course you're anxious and depressed. Of course you are, right? And then when you couple that with midlife, it's going to hurt. There's going to be some pain with it. There is. Now let's confront it. Let's get underneath it. Like, because you might be in a good financial position, but you're worried about finding a mate. You might have a mate in a good financial position, but you're worried about your fertility. Like, there are different fears that happen to different people based off of what our desires really are and based off of where we are in our midlife journey. So, Too Old is meant to explore all of that. It's meant to, a lot of people at this stage in life are pivoting. The days of working 30, 40 years for the same company are gone. Um, you we're reinventing ourselves constantly. We have to be so adaptable. We have to have so many transferable skills. And so, Too Old, I show people of all different ages, from different generations, how age affects their decision making, right? And it's meant to just help us navigate it with grace. I think that's the difference between it being a midlife transition or a midlife crisis, nigga. Have some grace with your shit. Don't be out here a corny fucking doofball. Like, don't be out here, like, I mean, I guess you can. You just look lame as fuck. You know what I mean? You want to fuck young niggas or young bitches and all these different things. I get it, because old dick just works different. It just does. And women reach our sexual peaks at 40, so now you want a nigga that can keep up. I get that. But also know that you big mama now. I don't fuck with younger niggas because it make me feel old. I'm not into that. And also, it just feels inappropriate. Like, I started teaching very young. At one point, I was like 21, 22, and I was teaching overage, undercredited kids in night school. These niggas was 19. There was a 3 year age difference. So, to date somebody more than 3 years younger than me, nigga, gross. Ill. It feels illegal. All right, but y'all do what y'all do. But I'm trying to provide resources first and foremost for myself, that have definitely this show and the conversations. I love conversations. When I tell you, one of my biggest pleasures in life is a good conversation. And so these conversations have been a blessing. The concept has helped me navigate midlife. And it is my sincere prayer that it helps you as well. I think once you get 50, 60, you just know you old. And that's a whole nother phase. And there's a whole nother benefits that come with that. But for people who are 37 to 48, even I'll say 37 to 52, niggas be real confused. And so I just want to let you know, you're having a midlife transition. Handle that motherfucker. We often end these shows. Oh, somebody's still on here. Oh, lost them. I tell you what, though. I do look 41, and I do look good as fuck. Um, we always end these shows with something we're too old for and something we're not too old for. What am I too old for? I'm too old to be lying about my age. I never lied about my age. Even when I was young, I used to fuck with niggas way, way, way older than me. But times were different then, right? But I never lied about my age. Nigga, you ain't about to say my young ass set you up. No, bitch, I'm 16 and you 34. What's popping? I don't lie about my age now. I know that some people in my industry of entertainment, they just choose to not say how young they are, because once again, it's natural. When somebody hears your age, they because the human mind is always trying to put people in boxes. We're just trying to understand and mitigate threats, and it's a natural thing. It's not malicious. It's just natural for us to do this. So when you hear somebody's age, you're like, damn, like you should have this by now. Like you start the expectations warp. So that's why some people don't in the entertainment field specifically, because maybe I won't be cast as the sexy siren wherever the fuck if the director knows ahead of time that I'm 41. I'll risk it. But I get why people don't. But the point of this show is to help us navigate and understand the reason behind the decisions we're making about age. There was something else I wanted to say. Yes, what was one of my fears too was feeling like it was too late. I was too old to make it as an entertainer, and make it. What the fuck does that even mean? But I do have a list of I will feel like I've made it when, right? And I felt like I had passed that date or past that age. And then I was thinking like physically, like, damn, I'm gonna make it, but then I wish I made it when I was 30 full. What? 34 body? Nigga, that was Essence cover ready, okay? But no, whatever body Essence get is what the body they gonna get, okay? But then I started thinking about the artists, black female artists who I respect the most, and many of them made it after 40. Maya Angelou made it after 40. She had been writing, dancing, performing, directing, teaching across the globe for years, but she made it after 40 when I know why the cage bird sings come out, that she was post 40. Toni Morrison was post 40 when her first novel came out. Tina Turner made it after 40. Yes, she had been with Ike and Tina, and she had honed her craft and got all the experience, yes. But Tina Turner being a global sensation, what's love got to do with it, Tina Turner? She was like 44, something like that. There are other examples that are escaping me at this point, but that helped me a lot in regards to my fear that, damn, I'm too old to make it, to reach my dreams. I'm like, nah. Actually, what has happened is God protected me from the stupidity of my youth, and I'm going to make it when I have the wisdom to, one, appreciate it, and two, to navigate it successfully and healthily. Love y'all.